Alrighty guys, this is going to be a video. We're going to be talking about every jungler's ranking for season 11 and doing a jungle tier list. Something that a lot of you guys have been requesting from me and asking constantly on my streams on Facebook, even Twitch. What are the best junglers and what do you guys think of like this champion X? And we're not going to be going over junglers who are, well, in my A to Z challenge. If we're going to be talking about some kind of unconventional jungler like Tom Kench or Wukong or Renekton, they do fit like a certain category of bruisers. And so in this video, we're going to be talking about categories, and you can already see like a lot of champions are in the top that are tanks, right? I'm going to be talking about what happened in season 11, what happened to all of these champions. But individually, I'm going to be talking about every champion and why they're up there. If I don't have your champion, I do apologize. But I basically have every jungler that's like a jungler in this tier list. So yeah, I'm gonna get started. So with that being said, I'm gonna get started on Amumu and talking about him with some gameplay. This tier list will also take in consideration the hotfix for Sunfire Aegis, so don't you worry, this tier list is up to date. So Amumu right now can abuse the item called Sunfire Aegis. This item is probably gonna get a nerf in the future, but right now it is one of the most disgusting items you can build on basically anyone who can abuse it. So Amumu can probably abuse this passive the most because he makes enemies who are affected by his curse passive, whatever you want to call it, take 10% more bonus true damage. And Sunfire will do more damage because, you know, Amumu's passive, as well as Amumu being super tanky, a champion who reduces physical damage with his E, and he has a lot of CC. So a lot of people are building Sunfire Aegis on him and just 1v9ing, building full tank and destroying every game with this champion. We're going back to the season where 80 carries had to do 20 autos to kill just a tank, and if Amumu is going to go Conqueror too, I mean, he's going to lifesteal off you with his Conqueror. So yeah, just Amumu is just super tanky right now. Deals a ton of damage while dealing a ton of CC. He's definitely one of the best junglers right now, and I highly recommend picking him if you want to get some preseason elo. Even if you don't build even if you don't build Sunfire, you can still build the other tank items and they're just as good. If you want to go AP Amumu, it's not highly recommended, but it's all right. It's not as good as going Sunfire Aegis. But yeah, another broken item on Amumu as well is Abyssal Mask, right? Immobilized champions take 10% increased damage, and with Amumu's passive dealing 10% more true damage, well, it's quite a bit of a multiplicative bonuses. So yeah, I mean, hey, if you want to want some preseason elo, honestly, just abuse Amumu. He's gosh darn good. Next up is going to be Nunu. Well, it's funny to see this champion up in the tier list, but obviously he also builds Sunfire Aegis, and Nunu can stay in teamfights very long as he does restore his hit point with his Q and has a shield on his ult and brings a lot of CC. So Nunu, if he wasn't broken in season 10, well, in this season, honestly, where tanks are giga broken, I think he's gonna conquer them all, and he's very easy to stick the targets with. So try and kill Nunu. He's gonna lifesteal off you with his Q. Also, Amumu and Nunu can actually solo Baron because of the new Omnivamp, so that indicates that something is wrong. And because of the Omnivamp new thing coming to jungle, tanks can now shred Baron and solo them. That's one thing that's interesting about this pack. But yeah, with that being said, Nunu, he was actually kind of an early to mid game champ. He kind of got outscaled later, but with the new tank items and itemization, he can last a long time in team fights. And yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on, but all the champions either feel like they're doing less damage to tanks, or at least assassins feel like they're destroying games as well. But for tanks, I mean, they just feel like they're just so much stronger getting all these new tank items. Next up, we're going to be talking about Rammus. Rammus is a champion, well, he's also another tank. And also, in preseason, a lot of people like to test champions and not really care too much about comps. You're going to see a lot of more AD comps, and Rammus is really good at taking down champions who, well, build physical damage, especially with the new items like Eclipse, which I'll talk about later. But yeah, Rammus counters all these champions. He's awesome. You can build Sunfire Aegis. You can build all the new tank items. So you're just going to be rolling your way to victory if you pick Rammus. Maybe his early game is a little weak, but it doesn't matter. His scaling is like a graph that goes from meh and then oh my god. That's basically how his scaling is going to be these days. So all the tanks right now are just giga scaling. Next up is going to be Mundo. We all know Mundo. Mundo is a champion who didn't really see a lot of light in season 11. Well, now he can build Sunfire Aegis, destroy everyone. He's super tanky, giga scaling, level 16, heal a lot of health, and build items such as Spirit Visage, Sunfire Aegis, and then even go the new items such as Force of Nature, the new Randuin's, Gargoyle's Plate. He can go Stone Plate. Thing is also, when you build Stone Plate, you don't get reduced damage, so you can build this item and not be penalized if you're like a tank bruiser, which is Mundo, weirdly enough, and Amumu. And well, Nunu doesn't actually do much damage, but Mundo can. But now he does because of Sunfire. That item is just so broken. It just ramps up damage the longer you're in a team fight. So yeah, that's interesting. Next up, we're gonna be talking about Skarner. Skarner is, you know, maybe a lot of people are building Trinity Force and these new builds in Skarner, but yeah, Skarner is actually a pretty decent tank. He likes to stick on people with his E and like drag them into his team. He can go Phase Rush, although he's not really going Aftershock. I'm not seeing that too much. But what I'm seeing is everyone's building obviously Sunfire and the new item Turbo Chemtech. So this is another item that is replaced, that replaced Righteous Glory. So now you can have a free Righteous Glory on your first item. You don't have to build a Cinderhulk, and you already have basically a Cinderhulk plus Righteous Glory combined. So you have the Sunfire. You're missing the ramping damage coming from Sunfire, but because you can spike at one item, Skarner makes a really good jungler right now since he spikes at Turbo Chemtech. He can build all these new tank items. Like, I mean, he can go Deadman's, which gives more movement speed. He could go Force of Nature if he needs some MR. He could go Abyssal Mask if his team needs more damage, or Gargoyles if he's really behind. But yeah, he has a shield that is based off his maximum health, and he has a lot of CC. So Murthos, hey, you're probably going to dominate season 11 with this champion. Oh yeah, if you want, you can go Sunfire Aegis if you are against a lot of armor. Yeah, Turbo Chemtech is MR based, so I recommend watching what you're facing first. Hecarim in season 11 is also an S tier pick. Yes, the champion got hella snowballed in season 11. So even though he's not building Sunfire, but he could, he's building one of the other super OP items, which is Divine Sunderer or Trinity Force. This champion also can build Sunfire if he wants, but yeah, I'm just saying he snowballs very hard. He's a bruiser, tank, assassin. Oh no, this is the reason why Hecarim's OP. So because in the old season you had to build your jungle item and get warrior, Hecarim can go straight into his Trinity Force or his core item, whichever it may be. And so since you don't have to build warrior or Cinderhulk, you can just go straight into Trinity Force and you power spike at one item, which is what Hecarim likes to do. And he snowballs insane once he has Trinity Force, because in the last season he couldn't do that and he had to kind of stay on Talisman or going to Trinity Force and kind of feeling a little wonky. He wasn't that good. He was decent and op for a while, but now in this season, because he can brush a Trinity Force and not be penalized because he has Omnivamp from his jungle item and it goes into you. So yeah, Hecarim can now roll at the speed of sound, got places to go, and he can follow his rainbow now. That's a reference to Sonic Adventure 2. It was pretty lame, I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, he can snowball and go to places where he can go. Now Sejuani, just like the other champs, Sunfire Aegis. Now a lot of people aren't actually building Frostfire Gauntlet, they're just trying it, but it seems like this item doesn't really synergize too well with Sejuani, since she already has a slow off for W and a lot of slows with her E. Yeah, she has a lot of CC. She doesn't need more CC. But she can go Sunfire Aegis, and we all know when the Cinderhulk meta was OP, Sejuani was OP. You have a lot of options for tanks you can go now. Randuins if you need to reduce AD damage. Yeah, there's just so many items you can go. Holy crap. And Knight's Vow, yeah, you can go Knight's Vow. And you are going to be tanky, and you can help your, oh, it's basically a slave item for whoever your hyper carry is. So even if you don't want to carry, which you probably will with Sunfire, you have Knight's Vow and all these items that are new and interesting. All right, so next up, we're going to be talking about Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix is extremely broken, especially if you're good at him right now. You go Eclipse, which gives you Omnivamp, and when you And Kha'Zix hella power spikes on white item. With the new Eclipse, you get lethality, attack damage. You get a shield and movement speed off the Eclipse item. So when you are dueling someone, like, you're just gonna destroy them. Get a shield, Omnivap, especially when they're isolated, you heal so much. So getting Eclipse first item, stealing, going around the map, you power spike super hard. On the second item, you can go Ghostblade or Collector. Some people are actually going Collector for fun, but it's actually pretty interesting. Unfortunately, you don't get the Omnivamp special coming from the Collector, and you don't really make use of the crit chance, but it is a fun snowballing item if you want. You kind of can crit obviously off your autos, but the crit chance is a wasted stat, and I do think going Ghostblade is probably preferred. But yeah, Kha'Zix power spikes one item. In this meta, I honestly think whoever gets their mythic item first will win the game. So that's why season 11 is so broken. So either they have to tone down the mythic items a bit, or I don't know, you just power spike at one item and it's insane. And you snowball from there. Because if you don't have your mythic item, you're kind of poopy. Next up is going to be Vi. So Vi is an interesting champ. She doesn't need to go her jungle item, right? No more warrior. She can go either Trinity Force, Eclipse, Divine Sunderer, or even a Sunfire. So if you want to go Bruiser Vi, just go to your Trinity Force. If you want to go Assassin Vi, go Eclipse and 1v9. The Divine Sunderer is there also, and Sunfire. So yeah, junglers who can abuse Trinity Force and not go their specific warrior route because you don't have it anymore are like really good since they power spike a Trinity Force. Those champions are good in the jungle. But yeah, if she wants to go tank, she can go that route as well, right? So she is very flexible and there's a lot of options. She can go Death Stance against people who have physical damage. And if she needs to go like Stair X2, that's also a really good item now. But Vi in the meta, an Eclipse, Trinity Force, and Sunfire Abuser. She also offers a lot of CC. Udyr is another Trinity Force user, but also a Sunfire user. Funny enough, you can go Cinder Alchemy and probably 1v9 the game and stick to people like glue. You got Bear Stance. You can even go Phoenix Stance since you aren't building, Tiger and you're going full tank. I do recommend Udyr, but obviously, his ramping damage sticking on targets is now finally doable, and especially when Phoenix got buffed. I mean, he's just gonna stick on people like glue. So I do recommend Udyr if you wanna slap some people. Next up is going to be Zac. Now, weirdly enough, Zac is going to be A tier, not S tier. There is a good reason. This is going to be a long video. Honestly, I'm not going to lie, but you have Zac compared to these tank junglers up there, and he's not as good. Those champions up there, like Amumu, who is pure tank basically, he has a lot of synergy with Sunfire, right? Because of his passive. Zac is a little tier below. All these champions up there kind of have a bit better early game. Maybe Rammus is equal to Zac. Yeah, Zac is he's an S tier. He's an S tier, not S plus tier. He can abuse Sunfire, he can restore health, but I don't know. I just have a personal grudge against Zac, I guess. I don't really like him that much. I tried him. Alright. Doesn't feel as good as like Amumu, who is god tier right now. So that's my opinion about Zac. Nah, you know what? I hate Set. I have a personal grudge against Set. Next up is going to be Kayn. Honestly, Kayn right now is really annoying. Both forms are basically god tier, but red form is one of, if not the best. So why is he so good? The new item called Gore Drinker is what is making him good. Yeah, so even though he's not going tank and he's not going Eclipse, his synergy with Gore Drinker is, if not one of the most broken things in the universe, especially now in a meta where you're facing a bunch of frontline tanks like Amumu, Nunu, Rammus. He actually counters basically all these champs. Maybe not Rammus, but he counters Nunu hella hard. Both forms do. More red form. He counters Mundo. He can lifesteal off all of these, and when he's low hit point, he can use the Gore Drinker, and he can ult when he's low hit point again, and possibly Gore Drinker will be back up. Let me check. It's a 15-second cooldown reduced by ability haste, so there's a possibility you can use Gore Drinker twice in a team fight, which makes him basically broken. And yeah, all I'm saying is Kayn right now, he counters tanks. His red form is destroyer of tanks, so if you need a tank destroyer, he is your champion. That is why he is so good, as well as he power spikes that one item now, just like the rest of the champions who I'm going to be talking about later. He's definitely S tier, if not S plus tier. He could actually be up here, but I mean, I just have to put tanks up here, and hecarim is over there too, because he's just hecarim. Yeah, Kayn, slightly broken. Honestly, I'm gonna move him up to S+ tier. I think he's so annoying, and he's versatile on whatever he's facing. So yeah, that's where I'm gonna put him at. Kha'Zix is the first of S tier, right? Because he's not a tank, but he is Kha'Zix, and he's slightly broken. But I always will prefer tanks up here. I only put Kayn up here because he's just S+ tier, and he destroys all tanks, but that's about it. Anyways, the last one on the list is going to be Volibear. The only reason Volibear is going to be A tier and like low tier is because he's gotten a lot of nerfs in the past, because like season 10 and like worlds and stuff. I don't put him as high, but he's still a decent jungler when he goes Sunfire. But because of his nerfs in season 10, I just prefer that he just kind of sits here, while all these tanks up here have not been touched, and Skarner got like a slight buff, I think, or rework. So yeah, I'm gonna put him in A tier because of his previous nerfs. All right, so in the A tier list we have Graves. You know, Graves is a good champ, can go phase rush, fleet, whatever, but can he shred tanks and do more damage? No, he's purely damage. He can snowball if you're a good player, but he can go Duskblade, he can go Eclipse. I'm not sure whatever's good for him. I actually don't think Eclipse is that good maybe on him. Just get movement speed, but his shield is reduced for ranged champions, so maybe Eclipse is in the way. But Duskblade does feel really interesting because you can assassinate people, and right after you can go the Collector, which is an OP item for, especially for Graves. It gives lethality, attack damage, and critical strike. So getting that second item is really good on Graves if you want to clap some people. Honestly, this Collector item is perfect for Graves. I do highly recommend him, and this is the only reason he's like A tier, because he can synergize 2 lethality items, and Collector is just a broken item if you can abuse it, in my opinion. With that being said, collecting some heads, 2 item power spike on Graves, definitely worthwhile. And obviously in season 10 he was an S tier champ, right? So now he's A tier just because he's not a tank, but man, the Collector plus Duskblade is OP as hell. So if you are playing Olaf, interestingly enough, he is a Gore Drinker champion. If you get low health, you have Gore Drinker plus missing health healing from your W, and you know, the lower you are, the more healing you're gonna do. So you can bait people into fighting you, and if you get low, you just activate Gore Drinker, and you're back at full health. So you're getting attack speed when you're low health, and you're back up. Bam, Gore Drinkered. You just Gore Drinkered everyone. Also, you can go Death Stance and Black Cleaver if you're getting physical damage. So that's really well. So that's really good for him, and you can ignore pain obviously when and yeah, when you get a reset off a kill, you get 30% movement speed to chase people down, and you restore 1% of maximum health over the duration. So the new Death Stance on Olaf is definitely kind of broken. If you want to like snowball team fights and run in and kill everyone with Gore Drinker plus Death Stance, that is a very good combo. Unfortunately, he's A tier because, well, you could build Sunfire, but why are you playing Olaf if you're building Sunfire, right? You could just pick another champion. So next up, we have Trondo. Trondo is hovering around S and A tier. He's actually just a niche pick. So he's in A tier because he's really good against tanks, makes him basically useless and steals their stats. He can also build Sunfire if he wants, but a lot of people are actually building their for fun build, you know, like Crossfire, Gauntlet, or Trinity Force, or the new Divine Thunderer. That's why he's an A tier, because people are kind of being dumb, but he actually should be maybe around S tier if this is a tank meta. So you move him up if a lot of people are spamming tanks. So Elise is a champion that is an AP. It's going to be the first AP champion we're going to be talking about, and she is, if not one of the best at snowballing. She gets her item fast because she can snowball, and she's an early game jungler. She wants to go either Proto Belt or Night Harvester. She gets movement speed when she attacks people from the Night Harvester, and her second item spike is going to be Lichbane. Now Lichbane is a new buff on her where she can proc it with her Q, her Venomous Bite, her Spider Form Q, and so you can be one-shotting people very easily once you have Night Harvester and Lichbane and Sword Shoes. So that's why she's going to be high tier. The only problem is, well, she can't use Sunfire, so I recommend maybe basically that's the only reason. She's not a tank, she's alright, she is AP, but tanks in my opinion are generally better right now. but she does well with the Lich Bane and Harvester. Next up is going to be Warwick. Okay, so a lot of people are building Trinity Force and Divine Sunder. Basically these on hit, you know, Spellblade actives because you don't have to go jungle item anymore. And some people are building Tiamat still, but the best item on Warwick is going to be Sunfire. He's really sticky, he's going to be very tanky, and if you can't kill him, he's going to drain tank you. So Sunfire is really good on him. A lot of people are not building that. That's why he's an A tier. If you want, you could actually put him in S tier if he starts building Sunfire. Fortunately, no one is, so we're going to put him in A tier still. Fiddlesticks. We're going to be talking about Fiddlesticks, the second AP champion. Fiddlesticks, okay, Fiddlesticks definitely got nerfed in this because of all the tanks. If you're playing Fiddlesticks and you're facing a bunch of tanks, I mean, you could go Leandri's, unfortunately. Actually, wait, no, wait. You can go Leandri's first item. Leandri's doesn't deal double damage when they're CC'd, so Fiddlesticks got a slight nerf because of that, and he's not going to be S tier. And he's actually really good into a bunch of frontline. Even if they were tanks, he could still shred them with Leandri's. Unfortunately, this is going to be season 11, and you can't deal double damage. You can go Demonic Embrace and burn more maximum health damage. The only thing that I do not like about Night Harvester or any of these other items is that alright, so Fiddlesticks in season 11, he's actually pretty decent. You can actually go Proto Belt on him, or you can go Leandri's if you're against tanks. Secondly, you can go Demonic Embrace if you want to do some burning damage and shred some tanks and, you know, be like a semi AP bruiser. Unfortunately, Leandri's doesn't deal double damage when you CC them, so you can't burn them a lot and one-shot squishies. You probably still could. With that being said though, if Fiddlesticks is facing a lot of tanks, he'll build MR. He really does not like that, so he could be useless if he's not the only AP on the team. Fiddlesticks was OP in season 10, so in season 11, even though he dropped I actually thought he was S+ tier, but now I think he is A tier because the recent changes. Next up, you have Poppy. So someone told me to put this guy in. I mean, he's S tier, but because he's unconventional and, like, you know, he's unconventional as the top laner, I don't really want to put him here, but obviously put him in the jungle, give him Sunfire, do some stuff, wreak some havoc. He is God tier. In fact, honestly, because he is a tank, he's actually going to be S tier. He's only unconventional, so that's why he's not S+ tier, but if he does sorry, it's a she. She becomes S+ tier if she becomes popular, right? But right now we're in S tier and she's just Sunfire abuser. That's it. So Evelynn is a champion, but I actually think the better item on her go is Luden's Ekko. The reason I think Luden's Ekko is better on her is because she needs to clear. When I was clearing with Night Harvester, it felt awful. So Luden's Ekko might be the better play on her because you spam your Q a lot and you want to clear fast. Like Night Harvester doesn't help with that at all. It's only good for PvPing. So if you want to PvP, you go Night Harvester. If you want to farm, you go Luden's Ekko, which I do recommend on Evelynn, of course. Also, for the second item, she could go Lich Bane, which is decent, but you probably still want to go Death Cap because she scales with AP and not really on hit, which is Lich Bane. Like, she wants heavy AP, you know? She wants to go Majai's and snowball the game. Next time, we're going to be talking about Jarvan. If you're building him AD, you're playing him wrong. You're trying to go all these new items, Score Drinker. A lot of people are playing AD Jarvan in the jungle, but you're obviously supposed to go Sunfire Aegis. Let's be honest here. So that's why he's in B tier. He'll move up around to A tier or S tier if he goes Sunfire, but a lot of people are just testing AD items on him and kind of being weird with him. Next up, we're going to be talking about Master Yi. Master Yi can go a lot of interesting items. He can go Gunsoo's Rageblade, Mortal Shield Bow, Kraken Slayer, Death Blade. You can try that fun build with the Collector. But yeah, a lot of people, he is being built as a crit AD assassin kind of. You're going to go Gunsoo's Rageblade into Kraken Slayer. A lot of AD carries are building Gunsoo's into the actual mythic item. That's the route you should go, I think. But you can also go Kraken Slayer if you want. Because Gunsoo's is 2.6k, while your mythic item is 3.4k, it is actually, you actually power spike a Gunsoo's instead, right? That's why you rush Gunsoo's instead of going your mythic item. And you also get 10% attack speed later when you hit your mythic item anyways. But Master Yi kind of on the AD side. AD carry stuck in season 11. Next up we have Xin Zhao. He is an Eclipse abuser. He can also go Gold Drinker if he really wants to. But a lot of people are building Trinity Force and Eclipse on him. I prefer maybe Eclipse just because you have a lot of AD tools. So Eclipse makes you tanky with the shield you're getting. You get movement speed, which Xin Zhao really likes. And yeah, you get Omnivamp, so you deal more damage, you kind of shred people. After that, you can build whatever situational. Xin Zhao really is versatile in the item builds, but he can build now anything he really wants. He can go whatever. He is go lethality, he can go tank. He's an interesting champ. Although Sunfire on him, you could if you still want. Up to you. Alright, next up is going to be RekSai. Now, if RekSai could build Sunfire, he'd be OP. She would be OP. But unfortunately, it is an AD based champion. They changed that. Her base damages are low. So now you're going to be going Eclipse, the best item on her. Since you can heal off your E, your R, Omnivamp is OP. And you get a shield. You just get everything from it. Second item, you can go Edge of Night or Collector. Because you do auto attack a lot. Do you want to collect some heads? Go for Collector. Infinity Edge, RekSai was a build someone was doing for a bit. And I don't know what happened to him. But yeah. The Collector, I mean, crit chance is not that bad on RekSai, I will say that. Shyvana is interesting. You could go Trinity Force, you could go your AP Night Harvesting build and shoot fireballs, or you could go Sunfire. You can build basically anything on her. Divine Thunder is okay too. She's actually good with Trinity Force and all these items that have Spellblade, right? Because of her Q. I think the best build is probably going to be Sunfire, I guess. Fortunately, no one's building on Sunfire on her. They're building, you know, damage. Everyone loves building damage. That's just how humans are. So she's in the B tier list. Next up is going to be Ekko. Now Ekko is broken in the mid lane right now. He has Proto Belt, which is god tier on AP champs. If he can build Proto Belt, it's good. You can also go Night Harvester, which is awesome. You get movement speed plus a bit of more damage. On the second hand, he can go Lich Bane. Lich Bane is buffed in this season, I think, because they removed the mana part. So they buffed some other things of it. Actually, don't know what happened, but yeah, they buffed Lich Bane. It's kind of cool. But in the jungle, he's not an early game champ. The only way Ekko wins is early game. So if you fall behind, it's hard to get your item spikes. And it's hard for him to... Maybe if you're creative with your ganks, though. But he's in C tier. Shaco, on the other hand, this champ is doomed. I mean, what do you even build? He doesn't do good with Eclipse, AP. Like, you go Leandre's, but not that good. On the other hand, you could build Sunfire on Shaco. That is just weird, but you can go for it. Your clone will actually burn people if it sticks on them, so that's awesome, and it's really tanky, so it could be really annoying. And yeah, maybe tank Shaco's the play, but no one's doing it. Maybe Chase is in some universe, but I don't think he's trying it in this universe. Next up is Lillia. He just sucks. I'm sorry, but a lot of pros and, you know, competitive players will say Lillia is better. Yeah, I get it. In competitive she is. In solo queue, she's just complete dog. I think Fiddle's better. The reason I pick Fiddle and Nunu over Lillia in solo queue, and I would always destroy Lillia, she just sucks. But she's good with Leandre's. That's awesome. She can build Leandre's first item. So if she gets some buffs and Demonic Embrace, you know, the Azakana, she's gonna do some percent hit point shredding with her passive, you know, 3 seconds of DOT. In that sense, she actually got 2 buffs, and it's awesome to see that. She's not a solo queue champ. I'm gonna say that. Jax is C tier. Why is he C tier? Well, he can build Trinity Force. He doesn't have to build jungle item. That's the only reason why. If you want to go Sunfire, but yeah, whatever. Next up is going to be Nocturne. Nocturne is very low on the tier list. Why is he very low? I'll be explaining that in a second. So can he abuse Eclipse like Kha'Zix or any other AD champ? He kind of goes in. He kind of dies. Yeah. He'll Duskblade if he wants some survivability. But generally, he is an assassin champion, and once he's in, he can't get out. That's his only problem. He has to flash out. I don't like him that much, but maybe you do. He's in a D tier for a reason. But yeah, I don't like him, but can't really make use of Eclipse that much. He's in and he dies. Next up is gonna be Ivern. Ivern, I don't know. This champ's a mess. Well, he could build like Immortal Mandate and kind of do things, but he's just wonky right now. He's in a weird place. I can't say where he is. I think he's in D, but I haven't seen that much of him. It's boring. Next up is gonna be Kindred. Kindred, B tier, because she's an 80 carry. Like, that's legit why. I don't think 80 carries are good right now. Maybe they buff the items later, but 80 carries are just bad. That's the only reason she's not here. Next up is going to be Gragas. So Gragas can use Night Harvester and Proto Belt, but I don't know. I don't think Gragas is that champ. If you're picking him in season 10 when he was nerfed a bunch, like, you're just trolling. You basically, if you pick season 10 Gragas at the end of the season, I thought it was a free win. Like, every champion I played, Nunu, Fiddle, Graves, whatever I played, Elise, Hecarim, Kayn, they overshadowed Gragas so hard. If you wanted LP and you picked Gragas, I don't know. I think you should think the game a little bit differently. Rengar. Alright, this is an interesting one, I will say. So Rengar can't abuse Eclipse at all. He goes in, he can't one-shot. Like, Duskblade is okay on him. He can one-shot and maybe like tap out, but he also needs to go time at in the jungle, I think. But a build, you could go on, no wait. But yeah, the new items on Rengar is little nerfed. Like, he doesn't care about Eclipse. He's not a bruiser like Kha'Zix. He could go Collector and collect some heads, but it's not that good in this season. You can ask Scrubnoob. I don't think Scrubnoob thinks he's that good. Nidalee. Well, this champion got nerfed before season 11 started, so she is gonna be quite awful. She's a Poke champ, so you can go Ludens. Alright. You go Horizon's Focus because she has long range poke, right? So you're gonna deal more damage when you land a spear from 750 range. I think they should reduce it. You can also go Lichbane if you want to snowball a bit and bruise and fight, but I recommend not picking her just because she got nerfed and some of the AP items are kind of doo-doo on her. She's not as fast as someone like Elise. Next up is going to be Karthus. Karthus kind of got screwed in the jungle. He will be built... Actually, Karthus in the jungle right now is a little lackluster. He can farm, get Ludens, but he can farm. He can't really deal that much in the jungle. Kind of gets overshadowed. And after he gets Ludens, he can go... Like, his choices is like Demonic Embrace or Death Cap or like some of these bruiser items. Back then he could go Liandry's and Runic Echoes, which he definitely needed Runic Echoes and go Liandry's and just like burn people. But this season, I mean, he did get nerfed before the season ended. He was really powerful. Now he's like an alright mid laner, I guess, but right now he's really weak. Leeson, on the item side, he can abuse Eclipse, and then he can go Death Stance, Black Cleaver, whatever you want. You can go more lethality. He's definitely versatile, but there's a lot of champions like tanks who overshadow him and outscale him, so picking tanks is just better. Silas and Set are going to be on the bottom. Yeah, if you pick Silas jungle right now with the new items, yeah, you're kind of trolling. I was just gonna say that Silas right now is bad, and then I'm gonna do, this is a personal vendetta, but if you pick Set jungle, and yeah, if you go Sunfire, that's okay, but you know, if you want to try something else, if you just pick Set in general, maybe if, as a top laner is fine, but as a support jungler, man, yeah, support jungle, if I see support Set, you just get outscaled at 15 minutes, like you're a useless champ. If you're not doing anything in lane, like why are you just griefing the game, you know? You got nerfed 5 billion times, don't pick him. And that's the end of this tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. That was a long tier list, but I explained every jungler in this tier list. Hope you guys like my insight. You know, there are some junglers down here who I didn't go over, but, sorry. You know, there are some champions maybe I didn't put in because I didn't think they were junglers, they're laners, right? Most of these champions kind of lane. Cho'Gath is up there. He's a Sunfire player, but like, you know, if he is a tank, you know, just put him as S tier. You want to play him in the jungle. But everyone else, yeah, they have their own categories. You can see like there's a certain trend going on in this one. If you are a tank, you're S plus tier. If you're an assassin, you can abuse Eclipse, you're S tier, S8 tier. If you play AP, you're going to be around A to B, and if you're an AD carry, well, you're going to be D tier for dog tier. With that being said, thank you for watching this tier list. I will see you guys on the next video. Peace out.